Tampa Bay is on fire with new construction homes. Out in the suburbs, you could drive 10 minutes in any direction and you'll run straight into a brand new neighborhood and probably another model home sign just begging you to stop in. But here's the thing, not all builders are created equal. Some are absolutely crushing it with design, service, and value, while others, let's just say they've got some catching up to do. That's why today I'm ranking Tampa's biggest builders from the very bottom all the way up to what I would call the S tier. You're gonna see who's really worth your money, who surprises you at certain price points, and who delivers that wow factor every single time. All right, before we start dropping names and giving out grades, let's set the stage. Here in Tampa Bay, new home builders in a planned community setting, well, they generally fall into 3 buckets: entry level, mid-level, and semi-luxury. Entry level is usually where first-time homebuyers or value-focused families start. Homes in the mid-300 to 600,000s. The mid-level gives you more variety, more upgrades, and some flexibility, and yes, prices can push up into the 900,000s or even over $1 million. Then you've got semi-luxury. That's where the wow factor really kicks in. Bigger homes, bolder designs, and those floor plans that make you stop and say, yeah, I want that. But here's the curveball. There's a lot of overlap. A $550,000 entry-level home might feel like a steal compared to a $550,000 mid-level. And once you pass 900,000, semi-luxury almost always delivers more for the money than the mids. So when I say I'm ranking these builders, it's not just about cost. It's about service, consistency, design, and overall value. Some builders show up big in certain price points, others dominate across the board, and a few, well, let's just say they're a work in progress. To keep it simple, I'm using a grading system that goes from D all the way up to S tier. D is the bottom of the barrel, still building homes, but with enough issues in consistency or service to land them there. S is the best of the best or superior, where design, service, and reputation just all comes together. And stick with me until the end, because after we run through these rankings, I'm gonna reshuffle everything by price point. You'll see which builders give you the most bang for your buck at 600,000, 900,000, and beyond, plus a couple of tips you need to know before walking into any model home in Tampa. So now that you know the playing field, let's kick things off with our very first ranking. And yeah, we're starting at the bottom, and we're gonna work our way up. At the bottom of our list for both price and rankings is Lennar with a D ranking. Now, you see them everywhere: Wesley Chapel, Riverview, Parish. If there's an area with a new community, Lennar probably has a sign in it. Price-wise, they're usually running from the mid-300,000s up into the 600,000s. Their big selling point? Well, everything's included. What you see is what you get: granite, appliances, sometimes even blinds. For buyers who don't want to mess with upgrades, well, that's a plus. But here's where Lennar slides down my list: the experience. I've seen more consistency issues, stricter rules, and just tougher interactions with Lennar than any other builder on this list, and it's not just me. Realtors across the area will tell you the same thing. It can feel like you're working with a machine that just doesn't bend. If you want changes, flexibility, or smoother service, you're not likely to get it. So Lennar lands in my D tier. They'll get you a house, but compared to the competition, they're not getting you the same value or service. Next up, we've got DR Horton, and I'm giving them a solid B. Now here's the thing, if Lennar is the fast food chain that's just kind of everywhere, DR Horton is more like Publix. You can find them everywhere in Tampa Bay, but the experience feels a little bit more put together. Wesley Chapel, Riverview, South Shore, Land O'Lakes, you name it, they're building there. Now price-wise, they usually start in around the $300,000 range and stretch up into the 600s. And what sets them apart? Well, that's block construction. Every single home here in Tampa is block built, which is a big deal for durability in Florida. Funny enough, in other states, Horton will throw up frame homes, but down here, they keep it pretty solid. And let's talk about the options. Nobody has more floor plans than these guys. You want a starter home? Covered. Need a 5-bedroom with space for the in-laws? They've got multi-gen floor plans like the Camden that absolutely crush it at higher price points. In fact, a $550,000 multi-gen Horton often feels like a better buy than some of the mid-level guys at the same price that we're gonna see soon in this video. From what I've seen with my clients, Horton's process is also smoother. It's still production built, so you're not picking out every little thing, but the experience has been positive overall, far less friction than some of the competitors. So why not an A? Well, honestly, finishes can still lean pretty basic, and if you're looking for lots of customizations, this isn't your builder. But for affordability, variety, and value, DR Horton's a solid option at this level. That's why I've got them sitting at a B. Reliable, affordable, and everywhere you want to be in Tampa Bay. Now let's talk about a builder that a lot of people outside Tampa might not even know about: Casa Fresca. And I'm gonna go ahead and give them an A rating, and here's why. Casa Fresca is local. They're not some national giant with thousands of communities. They're Tampa Bay born, and because of that, they've got a reputation to protect here. When your name's on the line locally, you tend to treat people better, and from what I've seen with my clients, that's exactly what has happened. Price-wise, you'll typically find Casa Fresca starting in the mid 300,000s and going into the 500,000 and 600,000s depending on the neighborhood and their top end of footprint. They're building in spots like South Hillsborough, Lithia, and Wesley Chapel, places where a lot of first-time and move-up buyers are looking, and what they're known for, well, that's style and service. Their floor plans feel fresh, modern, and a little trendier than what you usually see at this price point. They throw in design choices that make their home stand out. Not flashy luxury, but enough to feel unique compared to the other options at this same entry level. And their sales staff, honestly, some of the best experiences I've had with builder reps in Tampa have been from Casa Fresca. Are they perfect? No builder is. They don't have as many neighborhoods as Horton or Lennar, so you're limited to where they build, but if you get into one of their communities, you're probably gonna have a smoother process and a home that feels a little more current. That's why I've got Casa Fresca at an A rating. They're not the biggest, but pound for pound, they deliver one of the best experiences in Tampa Bay right now. And listen, if you're already thinking about buying new construction in Tampa Bay, this is exactly what my real estate team does. We help you figure out which builder, which floor plan, and which community makes the most sense for your budget and your lifestyle. Then we go to bat for you to get you the best deal in the current market. So if you want someone in your corner who knows the ins and the outs of all of these neighborhoods, reach out. All my info is right there on the screen and down in the description. Contact us now. We'd love to be your Tampa Bay team of choice. All right. Now we're stepping up into the mid-level builders, and we're gonna kick things off with Cardel Homes, which I do have at a C grade. Now, Cardel's kind of like that band you've heard of, but you really can't remember one of their hit songs that they've put out. They're here, they're building, they put out a good product, but they just don't have the same presence in Tampa Bay as the other mid-level players. So where do they build? Well, you'll see them sprinkled in communities around Apollo Beach, Palmetto, and Parrish, but nowhere near as widespread as someone like Pulte or MI Homes. Price-wise, you're typically looking from the high 400,000s up into the 600,000s, depending on the community and options. And what's Cardel really known for? Well, quality homes, limited options. Their houses hold up. No one's knocking their build quality, but the process can feel a little underwhelming compared to their competitors. Not a ton of floor plan variety, not a lot of big wow factor design choices. It's kind of like you're going out to eat, you ordered a chicken dish, and it's fine, but it's not gonna be the meal that you tell your friends about later. Now again, I'm not saying don't buy Cardel. For the right family in the right neighborhood, they're a solid choice, but when I stack them up against the other mid-level builder options in Tampa Bay, they just don't bring the same excitement or variety. That's why Cardel, they're gonna land in my tier as a C. Good homes, but not the first builder that comes to mind when I think of, hey, Tampa Bay new construction, and that's the suggestion I'm making. Next up, Pulte Homes, and I'll be honest with you, this is one of the trickiest on the list. Overall, I've got them sitting at a B, but depending on the price point, they can push up or move down in rankings, and here's why. Pulte builds everywhere across Tampa Bay, Wesley Chapel, Riverview, Land O'Lakes, Lithia. They've got a footprint as wide as just about anyone. Their homes usually start in the high 400,000s and can climb past the 800,000s, and some of their communities will push well over the $1 million mark. Now, what are they known for? Flexibility. Pulte's one of those builders that gives you options. Their floor plans have room to shift layouts, add upgrades, and choose features that make the home feel like it actually fits you. And in their higher end neighborhoods like Two Rivers, the product is strong. You get good curb appeal, modern designs, a little more personality than what you see in any of the other levels. But here's the other side of it. On the lower end of their pricing, you don't always get the same value. At, let's call it 500,000 or below, I've often found clients get more bang for their buck with something like D.R. Horton's multi-gen plans or even Casa Fresca's higher end packages. It's like buying a mid-range car from a luxury brand. Yeah, it's got the badge, but you're not getting the full experience. So with Pulte, it's all about where you land. At the lower end, I'd say they feel a little overpriced compared to the competition, but as you climb up, especially closer to that 800,000 plus mark, Pulte really starts to show you what they can do. That's why I've got them locked in at a B overall, a B minus on the lower end, a B plus at the high end. They're a solid, they're everywhere, and when they bring their A game, they absolutely deliver. Now let's go ahead and talk about David Weekley Homes, and I've got them at an A rating. If Pulte's the builder that can swing depending on the price point, David Weekley is the exact opposite. They're the steady hand in Tampa Bay new construction. So what are they known for? Well, consistency and service. With Weekley, you're not buying fireworks, you're buying peace of mind. Their process is smooth, their communication is solid, and clients come out the other end feeling good about that total experience. I'll call them the safe bet builder, like drafting the reliable veteran on the fantasy football team. They may not win you the championship, but they're never gonna tank your season either. And listen, I've had clients who wanted the wild designs, the crazy wow factor floor plans. Weekley really wasn't it. But I've also had clients who said, Adam, I just want a great home and a stress-free process. For those people, David Weekley absolutely crushed it every time. So no, you're not gonna get the flashiest model home in Tampa, but you are gonna get a builder that delivers on the basics plus some really, really well. And in this market, sometimes that's exactly what people need. That's why David Weekley lands at a safe, solid A rating. Safe, consistent, and always dependable. And before we go ahead and jump into this next builder, I wanna hear from you. What's your favorite neighborhood in Tampa Bay that really fits your vibe? Are you more of a Wesley Chapel type, an Apollo Beach fan, or do you love being closer to the city? Drop it in the comments below. I'm always curious what areas people truly connect with. I'm locking in MI Homes with an A rating. Now, if I had to give you a comparison, David Weekley is the steady veteran and MI is the builder just swinging for the fences. They're known for the big homes, massive for the area. The Grand Sale 3 that we're standing in right now, over 5,000 square feet. In Tampa Bay, that's like finding a unicorn in a sea of 4-bedroom layouts. So where do they build? Well, all over the place. And price-wise, they range from the mid 400,000s up through the millions when you totally max them out. And here's their signature strength. They're not afraid to build for space. Big families, multi-generational setups, people who just want room to breathe. MI is often the choice for families that want a ton of space and plenty of rooms. Pair that with their focus on energy efficiency, and you've got homes that aren't just big, but smart to run. Now, are they perfect? Not quite. Their communities can vary in feel, and if you're not looking for a large home, some of their options may feel like overkill. But when size matters, these guys are tough to compete with. That's why I've got MI Homes sitting at an A rating. They're the builder that brings the big guns in Tampa Bay new construction, and for the right buyer, they totally knock it out of the park. Taylor Morrison, I've got them at a B, and here's why. They've got the reputation of being a higher end builder, and to their credit, they put out a really solid product. Their homes are well finished, their communities feel polished, and you usually know what you're gonna get with them. But there's also the catch. You know what you're gonna get. There's not a lot of variety or flexibility. Their floor plans and designs can feel somewhat templated, and at this price point, buyers often want a little more personality in their home. So for me, Taylor Morrison is that steady, dependable option. If you buy with them, you'll end up with a nice home and a good community, but when you start climbing into that higher price ranges, there are builders in Tampa Bay who bring just a little more excitement and creativity to the table. That's why they land at a B. Don't shoot the messenger here. They are good, they're reliable, but not the builder that's gonna knock you off your feet. Homes by WestBay over the last few years have basically become a household name in Tampa Bay new construction, and I believe they sit at the very top of the builder rankings. So I've got them at an S. Now here's the thing, WestBay started right here in Tampa Bay, and now they're the largest privately owned builder in the area. And honestly, they've earned that spot. Price-wise, most of their homes run from about the 600,000s into the $1 million range, but it's what you get at those price points that makes people stop and say, wow, their floor plans are wide open, their ceilings soar, and they're not afraid to make bold design choices that actually feel fresh. I remember walking into one of their models with a client, and we didn't even make it past the kitchen before they were like, yeah, that is what I'm talking about. That's the WestBay effect. You get hit with that instant gut check of, this feels different. One of the best things about their home designs is that they understand Florida living. From the open concepts to expanding the inside living to the exterior with their large sliding doors that open to the backspace for entertaining days. They just get it. Are they perfect? No, no builder is. You'll still deal with the usual bumps along the way, but compared to most builders in Tampa Bay, WestBay consistently brings that wow factor. They're not just selling you square footage, they're selling you a vibe. That's why they sit alone in my S tier. Local roots, big reputation, and homes that actually get people excited the second they walk in. Let's now reshuffle everything we just covered, but this time by price point. If you're shopping under 600,000, your best bets are DR Horton and Casa Fresca. They'll give you the most bang for your buck in that range with solid options for first-time buyers and families looking to stretch that budget. From 600,000 to 900K, I'd be looking closely at MI Homes if you want a ton of space, and David Weekley for that safe, reliable experience. Even Pulte has some strong communities in the bracket if you're in the right spot. And remember, on the lower end, plus or minus 600,000, you might be better off with an all-in DR Horton or Casa Fresca, but at 900K, Pulte might be really hard to beat. And once you cross that $900,000 mark, it's game over. Homes by WestBay sits alone at the top in my rankings. They're my S-tier pick because of the wow factor, the bold designs, and the way they just get Florida living. Now, quick reminder, these aren't all the builders in Tampa Bay. There are plenty more out there, but these are the ones I chose to highlight because they're the names you're gonna run into the most. Check out the screen right now for almost all the different builder options you will find in the Tampa region, and know that my team is pretty familiar with all of them and can help you navigate finding which one fits you best. And this is something I definitely can't forget to mention about buying new construction. There are always tons of incentives, special financing, and promotions floating around. But every builder plays by their own rules, and some won't even allow you to have an agent represent you if you don't follow the right steps from the very beginning. That's why it's so important to reach out to my team before you start walking into any model homes. Having an agent in your corner doesn't cost you a dime extra in this process, but it can save you money, protect your interests, and make sure you don't miss out on all those blowout incentives when they're hidden right there in plain sight. Tampa Bay has no shortage of builders, but knowing who gives you the most value at your price point is everything. Don't hesitate to reach out to us, as we want to be your Tampa real estate team of choice. And hey, if you're still doing your homework, that's okay. I've got a playlist right here that will break down exactly what it's like living in Tampa, Florida. Check that out next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Woo!